Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here. So this is kind of a doozy of a video I'm getting ready to do here, and I wrote, actually usually I do videos first and I do posts later, but this time I did a post first and the video to go with it, so I'm open to expand on the video, on the post, so bear with me. And I'll be honest, I'm feeling pretty emotional about this one, and not because of anything particular that's happened to me, but I think it's a couple things. Accumulation of just experiences that I've witnessed lately, and I'm just kind of venting a little bit, honestly, my own sadness and my outrage through this. And if I'm feeling that way, I imagine that maybe some of you are. So, I've seen a lot of things out there about transitions, and this is a transitionary time. I mean, school's getting out, it's getting brighter and sunnier and longer. Hi, Deb. And all that. So I think a lot of people are feeling more exposed because the weather's warmer. And so this is not really a beach, beach body video. Those of you who are worried about, swimsuits, I have lots of posts about that, and I can post them. But I feel people's fear about, oh my gosh, here we go again. Like, how do I be okay with this body and not diet this summer when, everybody else is talking about that? Or I've had people in transition in my own life around like jobs and stuff. And, that brings up insecurity. And especially if you're in a situation where, if you're in recovery, you're trying to stop dieting, you're trying to do intuitive eating, and people are talking about their diets or their food or whatever, it's really, 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 really hard to either not want to get sucked into that or not believe that you should be doing it too, just because they are. I want you to take a step out for a second and imagine that maybe they're not right. All the people who are doing diets or doing cleanses or doing fast or doing whatever it is they're doing, why do we so quickly hand over our oh, I should be doing that, or maybe I'm doing this wrong? And just because they have this, I call it faux, I mean, I know it's real, but this fake faux joy of feeling lighter or healthier or whatever, whatever they're saying, honestly, that's not real joy. That's not real contentment. That's oh, this is the bright, shiny thing I'm doing now. So I can get away from my boredom. I can get away from my pain. And I'm not criticizing anybody who's ever done that. I've done that too. But I want you who are in recovery watching this, who are trying to stop dieting and binging and dedicated to all this, to think about wait a minute, is what they're doing actually supportive for me? Hi, Shannon. And I want us to think about what we need to do to be a lot more grounded in our own efforts to break free from diet culture. And so a lot of that's going to come from the first question that's on this post here earlier, and I'm going to write a lot more after I finish the video, is, what is it we think we're going to get from weight loss? What is it we think that we can or cannot do if we don't? We need to be able to answer those two questions. Actually, what's going to happen? And, sometimes it's the typical external things. And I'm definitely an advocate for just recognizing that this world is not set up for diversity of people in terms of clothes and comfortable doctor's office seating and all kinds of things. That's real, and I despise it for all of you who are having to struggle with that. And I wish it was easier. And, not that this helps you any at all, but I try to encourage people who shop that can wear standard size clothing. Well, don't shop at places that don't carry a bigger variety of clothes. I mean, I try not to. Just little things like that. Not that, again, that makes some kind of big dent or ripple, but I'm just thinking about my fellow people here around that. But be able to answer those two questions. What is it that I feel like is going to happen if I stop pursuing weight loss? And what does that mean about me? And, what is it that I think that I'm actually really giving up? And is anything that I've ever done in the pursuit of that, count calories, watch things, over exercise, or just say screw it to it all because it's it's difficult and it's painful and it makes us resentful and sad and bitter to not get our needs met consistently. And we do kind of the screw it eating, or just that built up of emotion eating that we can't really fix with restricting, and we eat. We know that's not supportive. We know that it hurts us. We don't want to do it. And I want to remind you, the last thing you should do is like judge and blame yourself for that, because that's just part of the typical cycle. So it's not your fault. What I'll say is, go back to those questions. This is not going to be a super long video, because I'm going to make a big long post and attach it to here so you guys have it to think about more deeply with this. Is, what is the desire to change your body trying to contain? And you'll say, oh, well, I want to get smaller so I'm more attractive, or I'm healthier. Okay, and then for whom and for what? And then what will happen? All things we have to answer, because then we get deeper and deeper and deeper into, honestly, the bottom line is, and I'm just kind of giving some stuff away, is that like you will find that all of this has a lot of meaning, and it's a container. Honestly, for a lot of things that we don't have words for. Like, how disturbing is it when you were a little kid, let's say, to recognize, I'm just using my own example, to recognize at 8 and 10 years old that like the two women that you adored most in your life, your mother and your grandmother, like don't like themselves, they hate themselves. How painful would that be? And it's not, and so they diet or they berate themselves, and this is what they do and what they think is normal. And so think back as long as you can. You're containing all those little things, unless that's you've been working on that. But if you've never thought about that, like, what am I containing with this desire? To either rebel against that, or to like do it because I feel like I have to, like I should, or I won't be long if I don't, or I'm losing something. And there's no, all of those things are legitimate, but they just have a better way of getting those needs met than what we've always done, which is hate our bodies and think that they're too much or they're too big or whatever. And I'm not talking about making food changes because you got some GI issues and you want to tweak some things and get more fiber in, or whatever you got to do. Or I'm not saying that like whatever size you are, if you're feeling like, gosh, my body's just tired and lethargic and whatever, because maybe you haven't moved that much in decades because it doesn't work to make you lose weight, or we just don't feel safe doing things or in our bodies or whatever it is. I'm not saying that we don't get going to feel better. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that like whatever the context of whatever thing we're doing with our food, our bodies, our movement is, if it doesn't feel supportive and if it feels like manipulation to change your body, underneath all of that, that's like the tip of the iceberg. Underneath all that is how all of that obsession, that thought, that whatever, how that's trying to contain something just much bigger. And so it might be your collective life pain. It might be something just right this second that's just so overwhelming that you don't have anywhere to like get relief from except for what you're typically used to. So I want you to, if you're watching this live, or I appreciate that so much, and it's kind of a lot, but if you're watching this in the replay, take your time with it. Like, watch it, pause it, write these questions down, then answer them for yourself. And I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear what you explored. I want to validate it for you. And if there's any other next step questions that I could have you ask of yourself, I want to offer that to you as well. So I hope that was helpful. If you're just hopping on, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And I'd love to support you in whatever I can. So I'm going to put a couple links below for some things that might help you keep digging a little bit more and have a lot more resource and compassion for yourself around that. So hope that was helpful. I'll talk to you all really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.